This presentation will give you a very good overview of the wonderful flora and fauna of Garema campus. Garema is about 80 kilometres west of Melbourne in the centre of the Brisbane Ranges. Purchased by the brothers in the early 1980s, it sits on 56 acres. The habitat at Garema provides an environment for many of our bird species here in Australia. One of my favourite birds at Garema is the scarlet robin. You can find these in the bush areas surrounding the campgrounds. The tawny frogmouth has incredible camouflage and is a nocturnal bird, so is active at night. The striated pardalote is another one of our little beauties. They nest around where the students camp. The gorgeous little mistletoe bird. They eat the seeds of mistletoe and fly to another tree, and through their droppings, mistletoe will grow in another tree. The wedge-tailed eagle, Australia's largest bird of prey. Have a look in the skies around Garema. You'll often see them in the thermals. The superb fairy wren, the spectacular colours of the male. You often see these birds around the kitchen and camping areas at Garema. The common bronzewing, the only native pigeon you'll see at Garema. These are often found around the bird feeders in the camping area. The New Holland honeyeater, one of the two most common honeyeater species around the buildings at Garema. The laughing kookaburra, an icon of Australian birds. You'll often hear them early in the morning. They'll probably wake you up. The gorgeous eastern spinebill. You'll see them around the buildings where native trees and bushes are flowering. The Pacific black duck. You can find these in the river where the canoes are. The weedbill, Australia's smallest bird. They are pretty common around Garema. The Australian owlet nightjar, another nocturnal bird that uses the nest boxes around Garema to sleep during the day. The long-billed corella, the rarer of the two corella species you find around Garema. The powerful owl, one of Australia's largest owls and one of the rarest. You'll find them hunting possums and sugar gliders around Garema. Another common species that you'll find around the kitchen area is the white-browed scrubberry. The grey currawong. Be careful when you're cooking a barbecue because they like to pinch the meat from it. The dusky moorhen can be found down by the river where the canoes are. The fan-tailed cuckoo arrives in spring where it lays its eggs in the nest of other birds, and those birds become the host and raise their young. The southern boobook, probably the most common owl species around Garema. You can hear them most nights. The beautiful crimson rosella. They use the nest boxes around Garema. This footage shows a crimson rosella male trying to convince a female that he'll be a good husband and feeding her while she's sitting on eggs. The yellow-tailed black cockatoo, a majestic bird that you often see flying around Garema. The shining bronze cuckoo, another parasitic bird that lays its eggs in the nest of other birds. The red wattlebird, one of Australia's largest honeyeaters, that spend most of their days chasing the smaller honeyeaters away from native plants. The white-winged chough. You can't see the white on their underwings until they fly. Pretty common around Garema. The white-throated tree creeper. You'll see them running up the trunks of trees looking for food. The habitat at Garema also provides a wonderful environment for many of our reptile species, such as lizards and snakes. The blotched blue-tongued lizard, the largest lizard species you'll find at Garema. They're omnivores, which means they'll eat snails and flowers. The Jackie lizard, the only dragon species you'll find on Garema. You can often find these on the rocks in the driveway. The marbled gecko, the only gecko species you'll find at Garema. They are active at night. This is the southern water skink. They like to hang around the rivers at Garema, and it's one of the more rarer lizards you'll find on the property. The eastern brown snake, ranked number 2 most venomous snake in the world. Lucky there's not many around Garema because the kookaburras seem to have eaten most of them. The garden skink, the most common skink species you'll find at Garema. If you do happen to pick up a reptile, please never pick it up by the tail, because as a defense mechanism they will drop their tail. Like many of our reptiles, the habitat around Garema is perfect for many of the different frog species you'll find in Victoria. The eastern banjo frog, a common species found around Garema. They are sometimes called pobblebonks. The most common Latoria frog species found around Garema is the Ewing's tree frog. If you do have to catch a frog, always use plastic gloves. Toxins on our hands can be deadly to all frogs here in Australia. I demonstrate this now. The common froglet is a tiny frog that can be found down by the river. They're one of the few frogs that actually call during the day. Here are some of the mammal species you'll find at Garema, but as most mammals are active at night, it's highly likely you probably won't see many of these. The iconic koala is a species you can find at Garema, but no, they are not a species of bear. By far the most exciting mammal we have at Garema are the sugar gliders. The nest boxes around the campground, most of those have a sugar glider in there sleeping during the day. Thus they are active at night. One species of mammal that you probably won't see at Garema because they're just so small, the size of a mouse, is the feather-tailed glider. Perhaps the most common mammal you'll see at Garema is the brush-tailed possum, but again, only active at night. There's a very good chance that you'll see the eastern grey kangaroo while staying at Garema. I've actually seen these in the car park around the buildings. Another regular visitor to Garema is the iconic echidna, or as some people call him, the Australian porcupine. Echidnas are classified as monotremes, just like the platypus. They're the only two animals in the world that actually lay eggs, then suckle their young. This amazing photo was taken by a motion camera at the house at Garema. One of Australia's most rarest mammals is the brush-tailed vascogale. Again, this photo was taken with a motion camera outside Mr. Barber's residence. A number of microbats make Garema their home, but they're active at night, so it's rare to actually find one during the day. This one's a chocolate wattled bat. The black wallaby. This species sometimes visits the campground at night, often by themselves. Another common possum species you'll find around Garema is the common ring-tailed possum. Apart from the wonderful wildlife of the Brisbane Ranges, a number of wildflowers and orchids call the Brisbane Ranges their home. Amazing plants we have at Garema is the Australian grass tree, and they can grow up to 2 metres in height. Wildflowers and orchids are a highlight of the Brisbane Ranges. Some of the orchids you'll find in the Brisbane Ranges and around Garema are tiny. They can be the size of a 5-cent piece. One of my favourites is the wax lip orchid. Again, the size of a 5-cent coin. Looks like a little dancer. These alien-looking plants are called greenhood orchids. There are over a dozen different species of these in the Brisbane Ranges. I was so excited to find the beautiful and rare leopard orchid. More spectacular looking orchids and wildflowers. Another one of my favourites is the wildflower called pink bells. Native plant Rosemary grevillea can be found around Garema. How amazing is this orchid? It's called a small spider orchid. The rarest grevillea species in Australia is called the Brisbane Ranges grevillea, and they can only be found in very small sections of the Brisbane Ranges. More natural colour to brighten up your day. Some local Banksia species found in the Brisbane Ranges. It has been so much fun putting together this presentation, and I hope you've learned a little bit more about the flora and fauna surrounding Garema, and a special thanks to Paul, Alan and Richard for helping me put together this presentation.